Become a premium member on RealCatholicTV.com today. Not only will you learn about the one true faith, just think of all the new friends you'll make.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by PewSitter.com, your online Catholic newspaper for the third millennium, CatholicMediaCoalition.org, in line with the Church, online with the world.
And TheAmericanCatholic.com, politics and culture from a Catholic perspective.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Catholic News Roundup. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Matrimonial Mayhem. The Episcopalian establishment is rapidly perverting the institution of true marriage into a ceremony embracing deviant sexual lifestyles. You may remember the Episcopal Church declared in 2009 that it would begin working on structuring, quote, official gay marriage ceremonies, written specifically for execution within the walls of their houses of worship. Now that the first drafts are being published, curious changes in the text have arisen, such as, I now pronounce you man and wife, has changed to, quote, inasmuch as Joe and Charlie have exchanged vows of love and fidelity in the presence of God and the Church, I now pronounce that they are bound to one another in a holy covenant, as long as they both shall live, end quote. The House of Bishops for the Episcopal Church will begin meeting later this month to discuss the infusion of homosexual activism into their services, after which it will be presented to a general convention in Indianapolis later this summer. Deep-fried controversy. Homosexual activists are targeting the Christian-owned Chick-fil-A company's college campus locations because they say the business is anti-gay. One bisexual student at New York University acknowledges that the Student Senators Council recently voted against removing vendors for, quote, political reasons, though she wants the fast food place removed for what she calls a violation of human rights. This student, Hillary Dorkowski, has already garnered 11,000 signatures to kick the restaurant off of NYU campus, citing Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's proclamation that, quote, gay rights are human rights. Chick-fil-A has been known for exercising its freedoms by giving money to true marriage organizations like the Family Research Council and the Marriage and Family Legacy Fund, while being persecuted on other campuses as well. Muslim journalist defends NYPD. A Muslim journalist has gone public, saying law enforcement in New York City is being unfairly targeted by a hit campaign that wants to paint them as anti-Muslim. You may remember the NYPD is facing heavy criticism in the media for its surveillance against the Muslim community to crack down on terrorism attempts, especially the part of the police program that infiltrates mosques on college campuses to gather intelligence on potential threats. Azra Nomani, an Indian journalist who has had work published in the Wall Street Journal and the Daily Beast, says, quote, I think that the New York Police Department has been targeted in this larger campaign to try to show that people are picking on Muslims, end quote. Nomani was part of the Pearl Project, a search to bring the killers of Danny Pearl to justice, a journalist who had his throat slit by radical Islamists. The journalist told Fox News she thought the NYPD police commissioner, Ray Kelly, had a sophisticated understanding of the Muslim problem. When asked about the federal government's investigation into NYPD practices, she said, quote, if you draw the line, make it clear that the terrorists are on one side and everyone else is on the other. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by NewOxfordReview.org, the voice of Catholic Orthodoxy, in print and on the web, and RenewAmerica.com, expanding the influence of America's grassroots in the cause of freedom.
After some tight competition last night in the Deep South, here is a quick update. Two crucial victories for Rick Santorum in both Alabama and Mississippi are keeping him alive in the GOP nomination race, and he will walk away with a delegate increase that leaves him with 251. Romney is still in the lead with 494 delegates as the Missouri caucus approaches on March 17th, which puts 52 more delegates on the line. Romney took a third-place seat in both Alabama and Mississippi last night, as Gingrich took second place to Santorum in both states. Professor denies Episcopal authority. A recent New York Times op-ed column penned by a Notre Dame philosophy professor features a controversial claim about Catholic bishops. Gary Gutting, endowed chair in philosophy, wrote that Catholic bishops no longer decide morality in the church and that, quote, the immorality of birth control is no longer a teaching of the Catholic Church, end quote. Blogger Christopher Johnson, an Anglican, defended the bishop's teaching authority by saying, quote, Catholicism is a revealed religion. It would be hard to be more wrong than Professor Gutting is when it comes to his idea that the bishops have not been granted their authority from God and that they and Holy Mother Church must bow to fashionable sins and popular prejudices, end quote. The ever-popular anti-Catholic prejudice reared its ugly head last Friday in the New York Times, where a Freedom from Religion Foundation ad encouraged liberal-leaning Catholics to leave the church. Obama popularity falling. Contrary to some media claims, support for Obama has dropped among both men and women since the beginning of the contraception mandate battle last month. A poll taken by the Washington Post and ABC News confirms that in the month of March so far, Obama's approval rating has dropped 4 points to 46% among American voters, down 4 points from a poll taken by the same organizations last month, which showed Obama with 50% of American voters' approval. The Weekly Standard magazine points out that this is after the media firestorm surrounding contraception activist Sandra Fluke and her hate-mongering over the so-called right to contraception coverage from the government. A daily presidential tracking poll from Rasmussen also confirms that only 28% of voters strongly approve of Obama's performance as president, in the face of 42% of American voters who strongly disapprove of the way he handles the role. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Thanks for tuning in today. Be sure and tune in tomorrow for your daily dose of Catholic News Roundup right here on RealCatholicTV.com. Also be sure to check out The Vortex, where Michael talks about Catholicism as the new cool. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tell all your friends about us. And as always, God bless you.